It's 8:59 now, so I wanted to wait till it was 9. That's all right. And here we go. Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is AVIOT Sunday Brew. This is an offshoot of the AVIOT podcast where we interact with commenters live, and we also just speak about what's going on in media, what's going on in news. This is the AVIOT podcast, after all, pretty much. How you doing, Jay Random?
I'm doing all right. No complaints over here.
All right, that's what's up. That's what's up. So we're reeling from our last. Sorry, I had this cover over me because I was too cold in here. We're reeling from our last podcast episode where we were talking about the election. We don't want to get into that today. We might touch on some things that are related to it. And one thing I wanted to actually touch on that is related to it is this idea of media, fake news, all that. Right? Something that
Mhm.
occurred, and I read it on Twitter. They were talking about the fear of misinformation spreading. However, while that's happening, what I noticed was news outlets such as New York Times, Washington Post, they have a paywall. So you have to pay to read articles. So my thing is, how are you afraid of misinformation spreading when the information that would be correct, people have to pay for? And a lot of people might not be able to afford, or they might not want to go through the hassle of that. How do you explain that?
Oh, you asking me how do you explain that? Okay.
Yeah.
You mean as far as is it really misinformation if we're actually paying for it? Is that what you're trying to say?
What I'm saying is, y'all are complaining about misinformation spreading, but then
Mhm.
the correct information that would actually educate people, you want them to pay for. So, how do you expect people to know the right things, or how do you expect people to spit proper information if they can't even get access to it?
Yeah, no, that's the truth. And that's a good point. And I think that's probably why people just go anywhere to get the information
Hmm.
because it's free, versus getting something fact checked or whatever the case may be. It's easier just to go on TikTok or go on YouTube and hear somebody somewhat read from a reputable article, and that's factual to you.
But that they think it might be reputable.
Yeah, exactly. But no, but a lot of time people don't really want to do research.
Nope,
There, there. It's easier to align yourself with your beliefs.
that's true.
So, I mean, I think that's where we're at now. Like
That-
everyone is in the same think tank when it comes to what they believe in.
That's
You know,
very true. What I would say, just even going to your reputable sources piece, is that, hey, how you doing, big boy K? What's going
it's
on?
good, okay.
What I would say in terms of just reputable sources, I think we need to teach people how to actually tell between what information is real and what information is fake. I think people have a hard time deciphering between the two. I had the privilege of going to school. How you doing, Jevin? Um,
Hey, Devin.
I had the privilege of going to school, getting my advanced degrees, and we learned how to tell between what sources are credible and what sources are not credible. Like looking to see the background of the people who are in charge of certain websites, who write, author certain papers. Let's look at their background. Where did they get their schooling from? Do they have papers published? Right. So
Mhm.
people have a hard time that telling what is real news from fake news, and we really should have courses that actually teach how to decipher between the two.
I think the problem with that is I think it goes back to, you know, we live in a microwave society, right?
Yeah,
How is a lie can spread better and quicker than something that's not a lie, you know?
right.
So uh I don't think people really have in their mind, I don't think they have time to actually do all that, but they should though. I mean, especially if you're gonna regurgitate something you heard, you probably want to look it up yourself and make sure it was factual before you say it, you know?
Yeah, I think that is something people should do off rip. They should try to check. But I truly believe, yeah, we live in a microwave society, and yes, people want to get their news right away.
Hmm.
However, that's right. It is called, yeah, propaganda. Propaganda, right? Um, they want to get their information right away. However, taking time to find out what's correct versus what is not correct is important. Like, for example, there's a huge misinformation campaign about tariffs, right? I've heard this word more than ever these last few weeks, and nobody even understands the concept of tariffs. They're just going on what they've been told.
Facts, and that's the scary part because tariffs is really it's really dangerous if it's done wrong.
Correct.
Tariffs can actually cause inflation if it's done wrong. And what I mean by that is tariffs can be wrong if you like put tariffs on, say for instance, the chip. Remember the Chip Act that happened?
Mm-mm.
You remember back in I think it was around COVID time when we had a chip shortage, right? So in the process of having a chip shortage, just imagine if to get those imported in here from China and we charge.
Computers?
I'm sorry, am I breaking up?
You talking about chips for computers?
No. Well, no. I think these chips are for cars. Remember, we
Okay.
had a shortage for cars. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just throwing China out there, right? So imagine if we had a chip shortage for China. I'm sorry. Imagine we had a chip shortage in the U.S.
Hmm.
and we needed to, but China was the only country that can give us these chips, but we tax them on tariffs of 20%, right?
Hmm.
Now the consumer, us, we pay for that 20% increase. Not China. We do because China's going to say, okay, cool. You want to charge us 20? We're going to charge you 20, meaning the consumers. So it's never a one for one
Hmm.
when it comes to the tariff. So um, right about now, I just hope that these tariffs that everyone's talking about, that the new president is talking about, I hope it's done right because tariffs can really uh, bring us into, create a whole new inflation, and we barely out of what we're going through now.
I think it'd be worth it to actually do an educational video to speak on tariffs and educate people on what it actually is and how the system actually works because there's a lot of misinformation out here around that.
Correct.
I might have to do a video breaking that down. I do want to go back to a comment. Somebody, ya 57 said, "Why do black folk call each other brother? But if I, as a white man, can't call you brother, if we are both brothers in Christ." Do you want to tackle that one first?
Well, so funny. So, hey, white people can call me brother. I live in the South now, and they call me brother. So just don't call me anything else but brother, and we good to go. That's how I feel. What do you feel about that?
I think when it comes down to that, me personally,
Hmm.
I feel uncomfortable if a non-black person is calling me brother
Yeah,
because to me, brother, there is a commonality there. There is a shared relationship there. For
yeah,
example, we are oppressed black people under this system of white supremacy. We're oppressed within this US American system. So when we say brother, we are connected. We have a history of suffrage together, whether it be black people that were born and raised here or even from outside of the continent. We still have a shared relationship when it comes to suffering and systemic oppression, right? African countries, they have systemic oppression. The West Indies, black people experience systemic oppression over there. We're talking about brothers in Christ. I can't get down with that because we've seen that even when we talk about churches, churches are the most segregated systems in America. There's a saying that one of the most segregated hours in America is during Sunday service because everybody goes to their own church. You have a black church, you have a white church, you have mixed churches. Usually, those mixed churches have a white preacher. And so we've seen throughout history as well. When it comes to Christianity, we've seen that Christianity, religion, has oftentimes been used to oppress black people. The Bible has been used to oppress black people by white evangelicals. So I'm not with the whole brother in Christ stuff. I feel that is a scam. For example, and I'll end with this. We have in African countries, we had the Jesuits, we had Christian missionaries, white missionaries coming over there trying to convert people to Catholicism, trying to make them Christian. They came over there, and then what happened afterwards? They took black folk and enslaved them. They went and conquered different areas of Africa. So a lot of times Christianity is even used as a tool to keep black folk docile. So that's my take on that. Did you have any response?
I have no response. Hey, listen. You took it a little deeper than I would have, but okay. once again, you deal with facts. So I mean, I'm just dealing with. I mean, it's I don't know. I don't see nothing wrong with it, but I mean, you know, that's it. I just see nothing wrong with it, you know. But
Yeah.
what's up? You reading comics?
Comment. This guy says he's white and his dad is 50% Aboriginal. When he was a kid, he got spat and had to run fades 2 on 5 most of the time with his older brother. I don't understand that comment. Okay.
Nah, it's all good. But I know somebody else said something that I read. Inflation isn't going to stop. That is true. Inflation is never going to stop, right? But the key thing is try not to create inflations. That's the key.
That,
Some inflation are organic, right? But when
yeah.
you start increasing things by slapping tariffs on it, you're going to create inflation. I mean, and granted, Biden had inflation too on certain things when it came to China too. So this is not this is bipartisan. So what we're trying, so basically, I'm just trying to say, with these tariffs, that's all they're talking about is tariffs, 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 tariffs. All they're talking about now, and a lot of people are like, yeah, throw tariffs on. It's like, yeah, you say that now to that bread because of the wheat. Whatever is in the ingredients that you're eating now is cost. Groceries aren't going down; they're going up. What's the problem then?
I was laughing too. Someone said when God said, "Let there be light," you were not in town. Of course, I wasn't in town. That was the beginning of what we. Of course, I
Yeah,
wasn't in town, man. Yeah, I wasn't in town. You weren't either.
nah, definitely. No, I don't think we called them towns then. We called them villages back. But yeah, but no. So that's what I was saying. I was just reading what someone said. Yes, inflation's yes, inflation is not going anywhere. It's going to go up. It's going to go down. That's the you know
Yeah,
economic life.
that's true. So, speaking of news and speaking of media, one piece of media, some news that I came across was Brian Windhorst, the NBA insider. So he was on
Yeah,
the analysis show with Giannis and his brother, I think Giannis Antetokounmpo, Theanasis. I think that's how you pronounce his name. And so they were on a show, and Brian Windhorst was featured, and he said that NBA media, he was speaking about the NBA basketball. He said, NBA media right now, we're not in a great place because I think we're devaluing things that help build the league up. Like one of those things is everyone is too short. Everything is too short right now. People are too focused on tweets, too focused on guys getting crossed over, guys getting dunked on, guys getting embarrassed, social media posts. Not as much on storytelling, learning about players, and learning about their backgrounds. What I call chronicling the season. What are your thoughts on that quote?
I agree with that. Just real quick, shout out. Hey, what's going on, CJ? What's going on? No, I agree. I think nowadays we don't know too much about our NBA players. It's kind of like they just show up and it's like magic. They just appear. Some of them, for the most part, right? And then the ones that don't have the talent, we talk all day about them, and then that turns us off because the eye test is like, why are we talking about? I'm not going to say. I was going to say the 55th pick when we had 1 through 20 that we could talk about. I don't even know who 1 through 20 is as
Right,
far as with the rookies. I don't know who they are.
right.
So I think, but also, what's his name? Brian, right? Brian went. What's his name? Brian. Could have called him Winnie, right?
Brian Windhorst.
Yeah, Windhorst. So with him, he also has to understand him and his comrades. They have to also remember they are in charge with telling us the stories.
Yeah,
So don't say we're missing that part of the history of basketball when every time we turned on before the season came on, we were talking about Bronny.
that is true. That is
You
very
know, we're
yeah.
talking about Bronny, and then last year, who were we talking about last year? We were talking about the guy from the Spurs. What is the
Oh,
guy?
Victor
Who?
Wemby. Victor
Yeah,
Wemby.
Victor. Yeah, so it's kind of like we never get past like the second or the third person in the draft. So it's a lot of people that we could talk about, but we find out about them later, and that's only if they're on your team. So it all starts with them, right? Because they can actually do a E60. When they used to do those back in the days on ESPN when they give you like 60 minutes of just talking about what's going on in the athletic world. So it takes two. Yes, that's missed, but also understanding, it works with them too, because that's why we go on ESPN, FS1, CBS Sports. That's why we go on these channels to see who's new. That's what I do.
I
That's
would
all.
personally, that's actually why I've become more engaged with the WNBA as of late because I know these players more, and maybe because the teams are smaller, but
Mhm.
you know their storylines. You follow them throughout college. They do a full 4 years of college, and you get to know them throughout the years. They're not doing a one and done, then go overseas or go to the G League. Right? They're doing college. You get to know them. Then they go to WNBA. You know these people. You grew up with these people, like Arike Gumbawale. I knew her at Notre Dame. I saw when she played against Connecticut because she had 4 years to build up that resume. I saw when she won the championship. Then she goes to the Dallas Wings. That's what she is right now. I think that in the NBA, we're not focused on, like Brian Windhorst said, telling stories.
Correct.
We don't even have teams with identities anymore. Remember when the Pistons, the '04 Pistons that beat the Lakers in the championship, they had an identity.
Yeah.
They were the re-envisioning of the bad boy Pistons, right? You had the bad boy Pistons, the Showtime Lakers. Shoot, even Shaq and Kobe, their team had somewhat of an identity. The Bulls had an identity back when Jordan played. I feel that these teams nowadays is just run and gun. We're focused on a player rather than a group. And I understand you had people that always shined above everybody else, right? But I just think that it's all about who can hit the most threes. Oh, if they don't have a ring, then their career is worthless. And that's not true. That's why you have so many ring chasers nowadays. And I also blame, like you said, the media. I blame Stephen A. Smith specifically. I
Mhm.
feel he has championed this culture of rage. He has championed this culture of whatever gets the headlines. He's all about the money, whatever gets the and I think that's not what it is. Like he says inflammatory things to get players irritated, and then people jump on board because they want to see this people duke it out. We are not focused on storylines. We're focused on what is catchy, what can make people upset, or what who can embarrass who.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, definitely a shock value right about now. Shock value because whatever they can't say on their show, they will say it on their podcast. It's all about being shock value.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, it's all about shock value. It seems like now, and yeah, I'm wondering too what Hayden Brown is saying.
yeah. You invested in a storyline and are saying someone else can't have that in the NBA. Can you explain that, Hayden? I don't
Yeah,
understand that.
yeah, yeah, I'll try to decipher that too. But yeah, so I think nowadays with the NBA, let's say per se, it's
Hmm.
so many players that I really will have to follow from college. And the problem with college is, a lot of these kids are one and done, right?
Exactly.
So, so WNBA, you can actually see them grow. You would know this. Remember the lady from South Carolina a year before when people were like they weren't really respecting her shot, and then this year she got her shot up.
Oh,
Remember
Raymond.
because Caitlin, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you see growth. Like, we don't get to see growth. And I'm pretty sure if we saw growth in Ben Simmons, let's just throw out Ben Simmons.
Only then.
If
Oh,
we saw growth, if we would have saw Ben Simmons from a freshman to a senior, we would have known he just wasn't there yet. You
right.
know? And I think this is the problem with the NBA. They have to start allowing these kids to go straight to the G League. Yes, we'll draft you, but we bring you to the G League because we see potential in you. Not we're drafting you, throwing you with the big dogs, and then be like, oh, this guy's a bum. No, he's probably just not ready yet.
I think they need to be more who they're picking up as players.
Yeah.
You can't just pick up anybody and expect them to do well. And the thing is, I think the NBA, basketball in general, has fallen so far away from what made it enjoyable in the first place. No one plays defense anymore. Everybody's running and gunning. The triple double is a joke. No one values rebounding anymore or boxing out to get a rebound.
You think so?
I truly believe so.
Hmm.
No any of that stuff. It's easy to get a triple double. It's easy to score 30 points. Remember last year when we had that whole barrage of individuals getting like 60 points? What and 70 points? I think Joel Embiid had like 60 plus points. Donovan Mitchell, I think, had 70. Everybody, Luca had almost was trying to challenge Kobe's record, right? Everybody was getting all those points. Why? It's not that these players are talented, But I don't think it's just that these players are that much talented than the players of the
Mhm.
past. I think the style of play has changed so that it's easier to score points. It's easier to get a triple double. I think so. Everything's run and gun. Nobody plays defense anymore.
And that's the problem. You're right. No one plays defense anymore in the NBA like they used to, and I think a lot of times it's because the refs aren't consistent. And what I mean by that is sometimes what happened?
They definitely aren't.
Okay, yeah, because sometimes you can have a defensive game and everything's a foul, and you're like, "Oh, the hell with this! I'm not playing D then," because I don't want the refs to be the reason why this team won or lost.
Hmm.
Um, So like think about it like this. So I'm a Golden State Warrior fan, right?
Hmm.
I love the role I love what they've been doing without Clay, right? But it's amazing how they were 7-1, went to Cleveland, and at halftime it was 42-83. Okay? Halftime. And when the game was over, it was 136-117. And I'm like, what was this, garbage time? Because I was thinking it should have been like 175-90. I mean, it's like the Warriors woke up, but it was too late. So and then the next game, Cleveland played, they went by only 5 points and they play a bum team. So I don't get it.
By the
It's like the
three,
same thing with the Celtics. Remember the Celtics, their first game?
live by the three, die by the three. It is
So
a
true.
concept of
Because
how.
remember what the Celtics, yeah, remember what the Celtics did to the Knicks?
Hmm.
First game, first NBA game, they walked the Knicks out the stadium. And then after that, they now they've been winning by 3, maybe
Hmm.
7 points. But yeah, you're right. You live by that 3, you're gonna die by that 3. And that's the thing I don't understand with these teams. These teams don't know how to adjust. Like if I was a coach, I would tell these grown men, like, okay, you're off tonight. How about you shoot twos? They count too. But it
Forget
seems like these coaches are scared too to talk to the players.
right and forget analytics. Like analytics say, it's better to take a three. Forget taking the three.
Nah, man.
A good mid-range jump shot. That's why KD is so nice. KD hit
Yeah,
everything. Threes, hit mid-range. This dude's efficiency, like KD, is who we used to see players back in the day. Even
yeah,
DeMar DeRozan, his props too. DeMar DeRozan is who we used to see back in the day,
yeah.
right? I need more players like that.
No, yeah. And I need players to understand the coach shouldn't tell you. You shouldn't know once you're 2 for 90. Like you should know eventually it's not your night to pass the ball instead of you being 4 for 26. Like that's just horrible. You're shooting the team out.
Mhm.
Like a shooter's not gonna shoot. No, this is not. I mean, we want to win and play sensible basketball. We have to change the mindset. They have
Right.
to change the mindset. But I think also these coaches, they don't really have a say so because I'm wondering how is it that Griffin, the previous coach for the Bucks, get fired last year when he was 34-14. Now they're 1-8,
Well, listen, I could have told
and Doc Rivers still has a job.
I could have told y'all once you hired Doc that it was going to be a failure. Look, come on, man. Doc
I
can't.
mean, they gave up on the season already. Like I understand Middleton is not there. I get it, but
Man, Doc's saving grace is that Celtics championship. If Doc doesn't win that Celtics championship, he is no longer coaching in the league. That's the
yeah,
only reason.
yeah,
He's trash. Every
yeah.
team.
Doc needs to retire because he's not doing a great job. He's messing up his legacy.
Yeah, definitely. So speaking of legacy, one thing that is often added to the legacy of musicians or musical artists is when you have a Grammy. And I've been seeing this year that there are some new names that have popped up in the Grammys. Doechii, I believe, has been nominated for a Grammy.
4, I
I
think, right?
four.
I think it's 4.
Yeah, I know Kendrick's been nominated for 7, which makes that Aubrey line. Kendrick just open his mouth, it just hit
I
even
know, I
harder.
know, I know.
um, but what I've also seen is some interesting people with album of the year. I've seen that Andre 3000 has been nominated for album of the year for his Flute project.
Wow.
See that Beyonce has been nominated for album of the year for Cowboy Carter, in which I believe she's going to win. And I've just come to the conclusion that The Grammys are a joke. They are a joke.
They've always been a joke.
They have. And so it's hard for me to congratulate artists or feel great for artists, especially because the Grammys are also racist too. Let's not even get it twisted. They're
Mhm.
underlying. There's some racial undertones there. I have a hard time congratulating artists that win Grammys or are recognized at Grammys because it's nothing to take serious in my opinion.
Mhm.
I I don't think that's a good metric of somebody's star power. What are your thoughts on the album of the year nominations, Kendrick, Doechii, all that stuff that's going on with the Grammys right now?
Well, I think the Grammys does sometimes get it wrong, right? I think they do more. I think they get it wrong more than they get it right. But I
Right.
think so far this year they're on point, and that's what I mean by that. It's not even the fact that I'm a big hip hop fan. I'm
Outs-
glad they got it right. I'm glad they got it right by not allowing Tommy Richmond to even be. They snubbed him. That was great.
Is
That
it
was so. I was, huh?
a snub if he doesn't even belong there?
No, it's a snub because he submitted it and they said no. He submitted it. He
Okay.
submitted he submitted Devil's a Lie and $1 Million Baby in the hip hop category after he denounced hip hop, said he wasn't hip hop, and then once DJ Head came back was like, okay, say less. We won't play you no more. He said, oh wait, that song. I'm not saying I have something against hip hop. I'm just trying to say it's not just hip hop. It's like, bro, we get it. We get it. Post Malone, we get it. It's all right. We got you. And then next thing you know, you hear him talking about he's submitting that song for best hip hop melodic. And I'm like, melodic? What the hell? You just so I'm just glad that no, he got snubbed because he submitted it and they said no.
Okay.
So that's why I'm happy because I mean, because I didn't want another what's his name? Mac Miller? No. Yeah. I didn't want another Macklemore incident to happen because I sensed that was coming. So
So
with
what?
that being said, I
Uh,
think Kendrick had a good listen, the battle was fun. It was classic. It was something that we may never see again. The way Kendrick took his craft serious, he wasn't in a club or nothing. He was just he was hunkered down with his pad and pen, listening, and then countering real quick. Shout out to Doja. Hopefully I said her name right. I heard her album. It was good.
Doechii.
Doshi, Doshi,
I
Doshi.
came wrong.
It's easy. Listen. I don't know her, so I mean, only heard her album one time. When I see her on TikTok, I slide away. So I'm not really, I'm being honest. You know, I know Kendrick name right because I like Kendrick.
One quick. Final Destination said God doesn't exist. Can you prove that God doesn't exist? And I know your comeback's probably going to be, can you prove that God does exist? So none of us can can prove that, right? So how can you say God doesn't exist?
Good one, good one.
That that's all I'm saying. You can't say He doesn't exist. I mean,
Yeah,
He doesn't exist. You can't prove God doesn't exist. So it is what it
that's a
is.
good one.
Diddy Diddy supports Kamala. I don't know about Diddy supporting Kamala. I never read anything on that, and I don't think that matters in
No, it
terms
doesn't matter.
of what free Diddy. If Diddy truly did commit crimes, then Diddy should be in prison. It is what it is. No, he
I
should not
agree.
truly committed a crime. I mean, we saw him on tape beating up Cassie. So
After he denied doing that,
after he denied doing it,
he denied it. So it's kind of like, yeah,
yeah, exactly. Well, Bobby Thompson, what created God? Well, if you think about it, time is a concept that's been invented by man, right? There are a lot of things we don't understand and we cannot comprehend. There is no beginning of time and there is no end of time. We know that the universe is constantly expanding. We cannot pinpoint a beginning. All we know is the big bang, and that's a theory, right? So when you're saying who created God, who knows? God may have always been in existence, right? There are certain things that are beyond human comprehension, and I think that we try to make sense of things, but I'm not going to go out and say this is not because I haven't seen it. There's a lot of things that science has proved over the years that we thought weren't true, right? We didn't know about it until science showed it happened. So just because you don't know or we don't know as humans doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I think that's very ignorant. That's like saying we're the only beings that exist in this entire universe. We don't know that. That we just know our existence. We don't know of anything outside of our universe or outside of our Milky Way galaxy. We don't know. We don't know. We have theories. But anyways,
Yeah.
going back to the Grammys, in the absence of Kendrick winning a Grammy this year, does that make his run less historic? Less historic?
No,
Exactly.
no, because at the end of the day, it's a business, right? Kendrick has his own record label. He's his own boss per se. He left TDE, him and his good friend just create their own thing. Kendrick has a family, right? It's a business. So why shouldn't Kendrick get recognized for the dismantle of Drake?
I,
Drake would have done it.
I think even if he didn't get recognized at the Grammys, though, it still wouldn't make it less. It still would be
No,
impressive because the
yeah,
Grammys.
it definitely would have been. But this right here is the icing on the cake. I mean, think about it like this. Without this battle that they had, I don't think they would have picked them for the Super Bowl because Kendrick is he's so into himself that it's kind of like, yeah, good luck trying to get him out the house. Seriously, the man dropped songs and then he drops a song on October 9/11. Then we probably won't hear from him again until December or January or February. We don't know. That's the question.
Always keep them on their toes. I did want
Exactly.
for the year, though, do you think that Andre 3000's, by their metric, do you think that Andre 3000's Flute album should be nominated for Album of the Year?
No,
I
I
think
heard it.
getting any plays because it's Andre 3000. You get any
Yeah,
other
but I heard it.
that, no one will care.
No, but I heard it and you heard it, and like I like to listen to jazz music, classical jazz music when I'm in deep thought, when I'm working. You know, I couldn't listen to that flute because it sounded like somebody who's just blowing and with with no rhyme or reason. It's not like he's a professional flute player. You
Right.
know, he just probably self-taught himself, right? He just blowing into the flute, hitting random notes, and
Right.
we're like, and what are you supposed to do with that?
Just real quick, Bobby Thompson, all things have a creator. How do you know? That is your assumption. How do you know? You don't know. I think it's
Yeah.
very say that all things have a creator. I think that is very ignorant.
Yeah. Hey,
Uh,
listen, you know, once again, sometimes people need proof, and sometimes you just can't prove things.
yeah, you got to be okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to not be able to prove things. So, okay, the Flu album. Now, Beyonce, I have a theory that she's going to win the album of the year. I think that this is to make up for all the years she hasn't won and the fact that Jay-Z called out the Grammys last year. You think she's going to win album of the year?
I think she might win the album of the year because of the way the CMA dissed her.
Wait, say that. Say that. Sorry, I got distracted by the comment. Say that one more time.
I said I think she's gonna win album of the year because of the way the CMA ignored her.
Oh, okay. So, okay, I see. But the
I
thing
mean,
is,
the Grammys is bigger than the CMAs.
that's true. Do you think
So
though that if someone is trying to make up for something, does that make that person's award legitimate?
to be honest with you, I
Hmm.
would like to say no, but how do we know they're making it up? I don't think the album was bad, but it wasn't my cup of tea. But that's a lot of time with the Grammys. A lot of the stuff that wins is not my cup of tea. I think it's a problem when you win an honorary Oscar. Because we already know anytime you got an honorary in front of it, that's just here you go, take this, and go in the corner. You got this. I
I
think, yeah. Mhm.
be honest though,
Mhm.
if we're talking about like albums and stuff, like I listened
Yeah.
to Carter a couple of times. It's not Beyonce's best work, so I'm not with her fans saying it's Beyonce's best work. And also, I think it's just because it's Beyonce. Everyone makes such a big deal out of it. I think there are other albums that were better than Cowboy Carter. As Tyler the Creator's album, in my opinion, was better than Cowboy Carter. In my opinion, my humble opinion.
What's the cutoff? What's the cutoff for
I think Tyler's album came out too late.
okay, I thought so. I was to say it had to be a cutoff. Because a lot of those people I didn't even know.
Yeah. Even Dochi's album was nice because it had a concept. The thing is, Cowboy Carter was just songs. Um, people could read deep into it and all that stuff. Beyonce is a phenomenal singer. I just personally, I thought the album was a little all over the place. In the beginning, you could see she was trying to have a country thing to it, and at the end, it turned into rock and it turned into R&B.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I, I didn't think
I
the
agree.
album that great. I thought her last album, I thought Renaissance was better than Cowboy Carter, and it's
I
not
think
because
Red Flowers are better too.
yeah, and it's not because of the genre. I can appreciate country music, like legit country music. I can appreciate it. I just think that the album was not as tough. That's all my opinion.
I didn't even know it even came out till it came out. So there you go.
I know.
But it came out like right after Renaissance. So it was kind of like, wait, whoa, wait, where this album come from? I thought we were still getting over Renaissance.
Ero Butler says citizenship by birth might be gone in 2025. What do you think?
We had a right to vote. We had a chance to vote. We only had one chance. Listen, we only had one job to vote. So if that's the case, then as long as you voted, you got to throw your hands up. If you didn't vote, then you're part of the problem.
Yeah,
Whatever way you want to vote.
we're U.S. citizens. We're the product of chattel slavery, so that doesn't concern us. It doesn't really concern us. You know, we can feel empathy for people that really want to make a better life for themselves and that truly care. Like we have empathy for those people. Um, However, it's not going to impact us personally.
Yeah. And how do we feel about it? I think we go back to we all had a job on the 5th of November to vote. So, the blueprint was out. And I guess the one could ever say, he didn't keep his word.
Yeah,
So
if it does happen, I mean, I think
it's
every
gonna be it's gonna be news. It's gonna be news.
yeah.
It's gonna be sad for the kids, you
Oh
know.
yeah, I'm against harming children. Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely,
So
definitely. I'm against anyone being harmed. Really,
correct,
I'm just saying
correct.
that adults they have a mind of their own and they are old enough to know better. Kids don't know better. Kids are learning and they're absorbing information. Adults should know better. What I will say too is I think it's up to different collectives of people's different communities to talk and converse with one another and truly educate one another on the issues that matter. I feel that black communities, black collectives, we do a better job of speaking to each other and being like, "Hey, this isn't right." Blah 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 blah. I've seen white families say we don't talk about politics when we're around our family members, and that's the problem. That's the problem. Y'all
Yeah,
want to issue instead of confronting the issue. So for those who will lose their citizenship, for those who will be deported if things happen the way we assume they're going to happen, I feel bad for those who truly wanted to do right by others and truly wanted to
hmm
make truly were trying to go about things the right way.
yep,
And those who are selfish and those who don't care about others, if they get caught up in the crossfire, then that's all y'all.
yeah, yeah. Seriously, I mean, well spoken, well spoken. But yeah.
Oh, I think that's Jay Random saying he has to run. I know he said it was going to be a little short day today. All right, y'all. Well, listen, it was great speaking with y'all. It was great doing this Sunday Brew today. And we hope to see you next Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah,
Okay.
I was just telling everybody bye because I know you got to go. But just quick before I let you go, what's brewing for you this week?
Nothing. It's nothing really brewing for me, man. Listen, I take day by day, man.
Right.
I'm just trying to, you know, process, what I got to do next. You and I was talking about it on our show. The next steps. To diversify our investments and just be aware of what's going on. That's it. That's
Right.
that's important for me. What's brewing for you?
What's brewing for me is definitely creating more educational material via Productions, our parent company, and trying to teach people. I feel that we've been giving a lot of opinions about things and we've done less educating. I think we give an opinion when it's coming from a knowledgeable base that it's education, but I think that more formal education needs to occur. So that's what I'll be focused on with our platform. You reading the comment?
Yeah.
Ship us where then? Ship who? It depends. It depends. If you're someone that came here from Guatemala and you're undocumented, they're going to, I think, deport you back to Guatemala, right?
Yeah, I would think. I would
Yeah,
think.
I'll have to look into it more myself. But I think America is very unique in that people can just roll up in here and chill. In other countries, I know in the UK specifically, they find out you're not there. They getting you out the paint. If you're
Mhm.
not, they getting you out the paint if you overstay your welcome. I remember in Bali, there was a story about this black woman who was there saying she was living there and everything was cheap, and they got her out the paint. They deported her right back to the U.S. So
Wow.
yeah. I'll maybe on our next podcast, I'll try and remember and bring up that story. But anyway, till next time, cuz.
Hey, take it easy.
Yep.
Peace.
Peace.